Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking. Excuse me. Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Muhammad Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Adam Wilkens. Adam is an Amazon seller, author, consultant, and the founder of Dotcom Reps LLC. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Adam Wilkens. Adam, welcome.
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who are you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Sure. I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, and my great grandfather had one of the three largest bicycle companies in the world for decades. So we had a large family business, and when I was a child, I wanted to be just like my uncle, who was the only one in the family, kind of continued the legacy of that business. So I shadowed him post college, and he was my inspiration.
What are the top three reasons why do people fail?
Specific to Amazon,
Yes.
um, I would say, people chase commodity products, which tends to be a mistake, but software leads them in that direction. Another mistake that I see moving forward is retail arbitrage, just because the transparency program is going to negate that even being a successful business model. And I think the third is developing products that are under $14.99, mostly because the metrics and the economics just don't work long term.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
I had a few clients that I got burned on, did not get paid. So essentially, we learned to sort of restructure how we do the screening process, and also collect retainers at times. We've just determined that the customers that are willing to pay you on the beginning or some kind of deposit likely will not be paying you down the road. So we just kind of learned to avoid those types of customers. Um,
What are your top three success secrets that others can model from?
the biggest one is to look for niche items. Everyone's sort of chasing rank, but the second thing would be actually to chase traffic, not necessarily bestseller rank. And the third is that content is king. So you can never have enough content, from words to images and video and beyond.
What motivates you within?
Being able to retire early. Financial freedom is my biggest motivator in life. I really don't want to be working, after 60.
What is your company's motto?
The company's motto is essentially find niche companies and businesses on Amazon that are underworked and undervalued, where we know we can, basically, it's a turnaround story. We can turn a $50,000 a year business into a $500,000 a year business.
Who is your ideal client?
Our ideal client has a trademark. They are, again, in a niche category. They don't have a ton of direct competition. They're allowed to have some indirect competition, but they solve multiple problems, and they understand the value of content and are willing to spend ad dollars to support their brand.
How do you find your ideal client?
Honestly, our best clients come as referrals to the agency, from some of our previous success stories. But I've also had a number of great clients that actually found me through reading my books or just a traditional Google search.
How do you engage your ideal client?
Initially there's some introductory meetings, whether it begins with email or a phone call or Zoom. oddly enough, most of my clients I have not met in person, but we, engage them via, traditional means of phone conferencing and what have you. From there, we go through the contract process and integration.
What are your well-defined products or services?
Sure. So Dotcom Reps is a traditional manufacturer's representative agency and consulting firm. So we act as a liaison for the customers and our client, the manufacturer, and represent them to our full capacity on Amazon so they can essentially focus on product development. We take everything off of their plate, from integration, item building, keyword research. We help them with customer service, video production, managing PPC. So we kind of have a full arsenal of services that we can offer the clients so that they can be very hands-off and focus on really the accounting and the inventory side of things.
Why someone should buy from you?
Yeah, this is a good question. We're a small agency, so very hands-on. It's not the type of firm traditionally where it's mostly sales-oriented, where they're interested in acquiring as many customers as possible. They sell you on this great package, but then they offshore you to someone who may have trouble with English or what have you. So, we like to be involved, and me specifically, with all of my accounts, so that there's a higher value to the fees and the commissions that we charge.
How do you crush your competition?
Yeah, it's very similar to the last question. So, some of our employees are former Amazonians, and we have direct relationships with people on the India side, and also have a lot of contacts internally at Amazon here in the US, from the 3P teams to the 1P teams. So a lot of people just don't have access and don't have the experience over a decade working with Amazon before brand registry, before AMS that we do.
How do you deliver a 5-star client experience?
Yeah, I like to set expectations early on, but always over deliver. So I'll give people, a time stamp of how long a project will take. Let's say integration. I always, deliver early. I always try and over deliver on sales, where I keep people having realistic goals and expectations. But I'll try and beat that so that the customers tend to be, fairly happy, especially with the honesty side of things.
How do you use your sales proposals to close more deals?
Sure. Mostly because I speak the language, and a lot of new clients don't. So, when you understand the vernacular and you understand the way that the algorithmic behavior is, and you can convey that by phone, people have a fair degree in confidence level that you know what you're talking about. So actually, we close a very high number of deals. If we can get the leads, we can close the business.
How do you convert your clients into your brand ambassadors?
It's all about sales, right? So again, in their expectations, if you over deliver and you can show that the customer or several ASINs in their catalog are ranking very high against its peers or their category leaders, those clients will go to bat for you, and generally speaking, have other contacts within the industry, which they'll refer back to the agency.
How do you handle rejections?
I look at rejections the same way I look at wins. So a rejection just means really it wasn't a good fit for me. So I'm not really upset at rejections at all. I'd rather have the customers that really want to work with us So I just let it really roll off my back. We get so many inquiries that the rejections really don't matter.
How do you handle an angry client?
Yeah, and this happens very infrequently. Generally, it's a misunderstanding. So if we have an angry client, we'll try and obviously work things out, either work for free, make it up for them to them somehow, if they feel there was a mistake, or do something, some perk, or some sweetener so that they feel a little bit better. That and just kind of understanding, explaining again how Amazon works, the platform works, and sometimes it's really just a misunderstanding of their interpretation of how things work.
We are about to move into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
So what am I grateful for today? Honestly, the clients that I have, those relationships, a lot of them have become close friends, and I was very fortunate that early on in the agency, 2009, 10, 11, when being an Amazon consultant wasn't really a thing, I was introduced with several really solid clients that are still with the company, and they kind of helped snowball the business and my success to a degree. So how do I start my day? Interestingly enough, wake up very early in the morning and immediately look at my emails. I read the news. I check rank on some of my best-selling items to make sure there's no interruptions. And I look at stocks and my crypto portfolio. So I'm constantly looking at the status of my clients and my investments. 40 years old, or 40 years young.
Adam, you are not 40 years young. You are 18 years old with 22 years experience.
Exactly. That's what it is. So what do I want to do when I grow up? The goal really is to retire early, spend more time with my family, and have more passive income so I don't have to work as hard. I'm willing to put the work in to get to that point. So ideally, I want to be retired early. I could say I'd like to be a dinosaur when I grow up, but that's not realistic. I always believed in living below my means. I don't live a very glamorous lifestyle, certainly the lifestyle that I can afford, because I believe in investing, not spending. So a lot of the income I generate, I reinvest into other things that generate income. So how will I feel in case I don't achieve the goal? I think mildly disappointed, but because I've been on track for so many years, I can't see that happening, because I've kind of, again, gone beyond where I expected to be at this point in life, and especially with, external investments. So I don't feel I'll be disappointed, but if I were, I would just reinvent myself again. So I'm not really concerned with that. How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you? So I look at everything as a learning experience. So whether you succeed or fail, it's all, there's a lesson in there somewhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean give up. It just means do something differently. What advice would I give my younger self? I would tell myself to think bigger. So I think you're limited to the confines of your imagination. So you can succeed and go beyond whatever your goals are. Likely your goals are too small and you need to increase them. So I would go bigger, faster. Once you have a revenue generated, how do you convince your significant other? So I'm fortunate enough that my significant other is always on board with any of my ideas because my track record's generally pretty good, and I'm fairly conservative and I'm very research based. But it's normally a conversation, and a lot of that conversation is me spitballing, just getting an opinion. Whether she thinks it's good or bad, she always supports me. So I'm fortunate to have that. My living mentor. So before I started the agency, I worked alongside of my uncle, who was a manufacturer's rep for a good 30 plus years. Very successful international businessman, and he taught me a lot of things about being a consultant, being a middleman, being a rep, and also, you know, what to do with your money after you make it. So largely, he was responsible for where I am today, you know, because he was able to sort of show me the ropes. Yeah. Why is being impactful important to me? So I believe in obviously helping people, and there is sort of has been historically a suppression of information that helps people get out of that rat race. I think it's important for people to have more financial freedom, control over their own destiny. So however I can contribute to that, I try to, especially with areas that I'm very familiar with, like Amazon. I think there are truly very few of us that really understand the way the platform works, and getting that information out there really does help a lot of people. What do I want to be remembered for? Building brands. You know, I went to college with a degree in marketing, and again, having a family history owning a large brand, that specifically was important to me. So that's what I'd like to be remembered for. Yeah, I would say, you know, we're interested in funneling or sharing of any leads or information, anything that can be mutually beneficial to both parties or anyone out there listening. You know, we're actively looking for clients, large and small, people maybe who are frustrated with Amazon, can't seem to figure out, but know they have a great idea that is unique, niche, have the inventory and marketing to support said products and or brand.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have a few words about today's guest experience on the show. Here's my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
You know, I really appreciate the opportunity today, and the experience has been very professional. I love the style of the show. I haven't yet read the book, but I definitely would like to, and I would hope to be invited back again in the future.
What would you say as a final word?
Obviously, thank you for having me. Anyone that's out there frustrated with Amazon, can't seem to make a dent, you're not alone in this process. Amazon is very complex, dynamic, and always changing. So it is one of these areas that if you're going to be selling or focusing on, you really need to absorb, read as much information as possible from every single source. That's multiple books, the seller forums, YouTube videos, and scrub Google. Speak to other sellers, try and connect with people, because it's very confusing. You can make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes can be very costly for the business.
Thank you so much, Adam, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.